Earth is our perfect and irreplaceable home. But space can be a dangerous place. Living close to an active star in a solar system with asteroids and visiting comets means we need to keep an eye on the sky. The satellites we need for everyday life face a variety of threats, including from space debris left over from previous decades of space activities. ESA is working to reduce and prevent the effects of hazards from space. We want to protect our pale blue dot, the people living there, and the satellites around us that we need every day. We want to use space safely and be prepared for threats from above. The Sun is a lively and active place, as the Solar Orbiter mission is helping to show. Without the Sun's energy, we would not exist. But when solar flares erupt, or when the Sun ejects clouds of matter in our direction, our satellites in space and our power grids and networks on the ground can be at risk. The Earth's atmosphere and magnetosphere do a great job of keeping us safe down here. We can even enjoy space weather as the beautiful auroras we see in Earth's polar regions. But we need to be prepared for harmful solar storms. Solar storms can damage satellites and affect electricity grids and other vital networks on the ground. Aircraft that normally fly in polar regions need to change their routes when solar radiation levels get too high. While we continue to learn about our active Sun, we are also watching it carefully. It can send the streams of particles, highly energetic atoms of hydrogen, and radiation in our direction. Working with our partners around the world, ESA is developing new ways of monitoring space weather and helping develop the technology we rely on in space and on the ground to stay safe. For this purpose, ESA will develop the first operational deep space mission to give us a close-to-light view of the solar disk from a unique viewpoint. The spacecraft will be stationed 150 million kilometers away from Earth at one of the Lagrange points, where the gravitational influence of the Sun and Earth are in balance. We will watch active regions on the Sun and spot mass ejection before they reach Earth, enabling a new early warning system. When we look at the Moon or Mars, we see hundreds of impact craters. Those craters exist on Earth too, but volcanic activity, oceans and vegetation can quickly cover them up. Our atmosphere helps protect us from meteors, slowing them down or making them burn up completely. But we know that our planet can be struck by bigger objects from space. We believe it was an asteroid that changed the dinosaurs' world forever. Luckily for us, we have ways of watching the skies that the dinosaurs didn't. ESA's telescopes work with those of other countries to watch for asteroids and map their orbits. When we find an asteroid that has any chance of hitting Earth, we collect all of the information we can about its orbit and what it is made from. Once our team is satisfied that it will not be dangerous, they can remove it from the risk list. When it's needed, we work with the UN and international partners to assess and warn of any possibility of impact. ESA is building a new Fly-Eye telescope that will automate the search process. We can see more of the sky each night and get better at detecting objects that might come too close. In the future, we could take action if an asteroid is headed our way. To learn how to deflect asteroids, ESA's HERA mission will visit the Didymos asteroid after NASA's DART mission. Information from the two missions could tell us how we might change an asteroid's orbit and push it out of the way. A small change in an asteroid's path could make all the difference. Space is getting busier. There are thousands of active satellites, with more being launched all the time. There is a growing risk that they will get too close to each other. ESA satellites are flown by experts who work around the clock to keep everything running smoothly. But as more satellites are launched, the orbital pathways are getting more congested. ESA is working on putting automatic processes in place to support the management of space traffic. We're working on making space traffic management quicker and easier to reduce risk to any of our European satellites and sustain the precious resource of space for the next generation. As spaceflight has become more common, Earth's orbital paths have become polluted with space junk. Earth orbit is a limited natural resource, and we need to protect it. ESA, other agencies and private companies that fly satellites are working to reduce space debris. International awareness has changed since the early days of the space age, so now satellite operators must make a plan to dispose of hardware responsibly when it reaches the end of its life. But even if everyone stopped adding to the space junk, there are abandoned satellites and used-up rocket bodies still circulating in Earth's orbit. A collision would not only damage a working satellite, but also create more debris that could cause more damage. To prevent a chain reaction of collisions that could make space too polluted to use, we need to bring some of those derelict satellites down, so that they can safely burn up in the atmosphere. ESA has been working on different ideas for capturing space junk and taking it out of orbit. We are developing the world's first commercial mission that will grab a piece of space junk and deorbit it. By removing dead satellites or finding new ways of repurposing them in space, we will reduce the space debris problem and create new business opportunities. We want spaceflight to be sustainable and orbits to be available for everyone to use. What goes up must come down, safely.